Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In the early stages, hyperinflation usually leads to increased real cash balance, as the rise in prices does not keep up with the rise in money supply. This is because of the initial expectation that prices will eventually return to normal level. If the inflation fails to slow over time, the public will have a new expectation that prices will continue to increase. This leads to a flight from currency and the corresponding decrease in real cash balance. Though the quantity of money may be increasing faster than ever, people will have greatly increased demand for consumer goods that retain their value relative to the quickly devaluing printed money. This increased demand causes price increases to outstrip money increases, lowering the real value of cash even as it becomes more plentiful. Zimbabwe is located in the southern region of the African continent and is bounded to the north by Zambia, to the east by Mozambique, to the south by South Africa, and to the west by Botswana and the Caprivi Strip of Namibia.
Zimbabwe is the first country to experience a hyperinflationary episode in the 21st century. Hyperinflation is rare and often associated with wars, regime change, and unstable political and economic environments where revenues are insufficient to cover government expenditures and printing more currency becomes a solution. Excess money supply not backed by economic growth leads to a loss of confidence in the currency, which ultimately can result in abandonment of the local currency in favor of foreign ones. Hyperinflation produces adverse impacts, which wealth and savings are wiped out within months and prices of basic commodities become out of reach to many, especially those on fixed incomes.
The government often implement price control to control the inflation. This frequently leads to the shortage as the producer opt for alternative market to avoid the mandate price ceilings that don't cover the production cost. A thriving black market ensures where basic goods and foreign currency are traded at premium price. Economists also resort to the barter and trade in foreign currency when the home currency has lost its value.
The arrangement is sort of like an agreement between the drivers and the passengers, so that when you have a dollar or 10 rand, if you pay a dollar, you get 3 trillion change.
In Zimbabwe, the printing press worked overtime, delivering ever-increasing currency denominations that lost value faster than they could be printed. The 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollar bills issued in January 2009 was the largest denomination in the history of money. At the time of the issuance, this note was worth $300 and its issue diminished by the hour as the inflation rate soared in the millions. Recently, this historic 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollar bills has become a hot commodity among collectors and novelty buyers, selling for about $5 on eBay. This historical keepsake is a stark reminder to what happened to the currency when inflation and fiscal balance go unchecked.
Zimbabwe's official annual rate of inflation exceeded 231 million% in 2008, quickly eroding the currency's purchasing power. The Economic Times newspaper notes on June 13, 2008 that a loaf of bread now costs what 12 new cars did a decade ago, and a small pack of locally produced coffee beans cost just short of 1 billion Zimbabwe's dollar. A decade ago, a sum would have bought 60 new cars. At the height of the hyperinflation, prices double every few days, and Zimbabweans struggle to keep their cash resource from evaporating. Businesses still quote price in local currency, but revise them several times a day.
If I get the bond notes, there is no way I can find the rand. I'll just have to go to the black market.
A minibus driver taking commuters into Harar still charged the passengers in local currency, but at a higher price on the evening trip home.
The government attempted to quell rampant inflation by controlling the prices of basic commodities and services in 2007 and 2008. Authorities forced merchants, sometimes with police force, to lower prices that exceeded set ceilings. This quickly produced food shortage because businesses couldn't earn a profit selling at government mandates prices, and producers of goods and services cut output to avoid incurring losses. People waited in long lines at fuel stations and stores. While supermarket shelves were empty, a thriving black market developed where goods traded at much higher prices. Underground markets for foreign exchange also sprang up in back offices and parking lots where local notes were converted to hard currencies at much more than the official central bank rate.
Long back, used to there'll be price changes maybe every month, but right now it's like every week. Last week I bought some mouthwash for about $52. Yesterday I went back, it's now $125. So generally prices are going up. We can't afford anything. Even the salaries are close to nothing.
Some commodities such as gasoline were exclusively traded in US dollars or the South African rand. And landlords often accepted groceries and food items as barter for rent. When currency is almost worthless, the use of foreign exchange or barter frequently.
Zimbabwe has taken some action in order to solve the hyperinflation. The first step is dollarization. Dollarization occurs when a country accepts the US dollar as a medium of exchange or legal tender in addition to or instead of its own currency. It typically results in increased monetary and economic stability, but it also necessarily involves the loss of monetary policy autonomy. Dollarization in Zimbabwe worked to reduce inflation, increase citizens' buying power, and realize increased economic growth. This reduced the instability of the country's overall economy, allowing it to increase its citizens' purchasing power. Long-term economic planning became easier for the country since the stable dollar attracted some foreign investment. Next, Zimbabwe freezed the government spending. As the economic crisis worsened, the government began printing money to try and placate people relying on government pay. With the economy in decline, government debt increased, and the government responded by printing more money, which caused more inflation. This started out as a short-term measure to finance war in the Congo and also to increase the salaries of officials and soldiers. If government decreases its spending, there is no need for central bank to print any more money. Therefore, inflation will decrease.
The third solution for preventing hyperinflation are by stop printing the Zimbabwe currency. By stop printing the currency, it will ensure less money circulate in the economy. This implicitly solves the chronic problem of lack of confidence in the Zimbabwean dollars and compel people to use the foreign currency of their choice. For example, Zimbabwe can use a combination of foreign currency like US dollars. Next, one of the popular methods of controlling inflation is through a contractionary monetary policy. The goal of a contractionary policy is to reduce the money supply within the economy by decreasing bond price and increasing interest rates. This helps reduce spending because when there is less money to go around, those who have money want to keep it and save it instead of spending it. It also means there is less available credit, which can reduce spending. Reducing spending is important during inflation because it helps halt the economic growth and in turn the rates of inflation.
This is the rosiest image of Zimbabwe's future and one that will require many breaks in its favor. Mugabe's isolation has tied the hands of the international community, leaving little opportunity to influence the current crisis. The primary action that the West can take is to create a trust fund as described by Moss and Patrick, and hope that Jacob Zuma can make an impact upon taking office in South Africa. Due to uncontrollable hyperinflation and corruption issue, Jacob Zuma resigned immediately as the president of South Africa.
I have therefore come to the decision to resign as president of the Republic with immediate effect.
Beyond this, the West 43 must wait to see how the next few months or years play out and be ready when an opportunity presents itself. Given the more devastating downturn of the real economy, it is unlikely that Zimbabwe can make as quick as recovery as its hyperinflationary ancestor of the early 20th century. Zimbabwe has certainly dug itself in a deep hole, but with a proper leadership, it could once again become an economic power of the African continent. That's all from us. I'm Nurul Shahira Ropa.
I am Nur Agnes Shazwani.
And I am Nazmi Hanin. Thank you for watching.